प्रपन्न पारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। We are studying a very interesting part of the Bhagavad Geetā. In this chapter 5, there is this discussion or dialogue between Arjuna and Sri Krishna, where Arjuna is quite puzzled, for Sri Krishna continues to praise both Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyasa. And moreover, he says both of them are great, and in certain ways, Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyasa. That especially shakes up Arjuna, for he primarily made two watertight compartments. Those who stay with life of action, somehow that idea crystallized in his mind as inferior. And he also had the idea that those who walk away to Himalayas or wherever, doesn't have to be Himalayas, it could be a solitary place, or it could be a spiritual center very near your hometown. But Himalayas has become a kind of a idiomatic phrase. Go away to Himalayas. Let me tell you, a lot of saints and sages never went anywhere near Himalayas. In their own little village or town, certain sincerity and intensity of self-application made them realize the liberating truth. So Arjuna's problem was he looked at two levels of human evolution in rather rigid compartments. He didn't realize that among people who go for the so-called renunciation of karma, many may not be truly ready. They might have walked away out of some fancy. Once some people gathered around Sri Ramakrishna and said, "We get highly inspired when you talk about intense devotion to God." Sri Ramakrishna, as you know, used to go into samadhi at the very name of Mother Kali. Or someone like Vivekananda, who was called Narendranath Datta at times, at that time. When Narendra came and sang a bhajan, Sri Ramakrishna would go into samadhi. So the devotees were highly inspired. We also would like to go into samadhi like this. We are fed up of, on one hand, all the mundane, secular work that we are doing. On the other, our tradition has asked us to do some Sandhya Vandana, some japa, some puja, some observing various festivals, special occasions, and doing rituals or getting a priest to do certain rituals on those special days. Those people thought, we will leave all those. We will neither do any japa tapa, no Sandhya Vandana, nor observe, things like the annual tithi, shraddha for departed souls, etc. They thought, let us leave them all. And like our Guru, Sri Ramakrishna, we will go into samadhi. As though going to samadhi is so easy. So they came in a well-recorded dialogue. The devotees from Kolkata came and asked Sri Ramakrishna, if you say yes, we will stop all our especially religious duties like Gayatri Japa. Please say yes. Please give us the green signal. Sri Ramakrishna screams at them, you should not stop your Sandhya Vandana till a certain point comes in your life. They asked, what is that point? When can we give up Sandhya Vandana? Or Sandhya Vandana stands for certain daily spiritual practices. He said, when as soon as you hear the word Hari, at the very hearing of the word Hari, suppose your hair stand on their ends. If such a thing happens in your life, then you may leave Sandhya Vandana. You and I in modern times too, whether we do Japa or Sandhya Vandana or not, should bear this in mind. Sannyasa requires, I would not say in that language, your hair should stand on their ends and so on. I prefer to say when there is a sustained appreciation of the higher spiritual principles or truths. If you have been studying Vedanta or you have studied a little Vedanta, suppose the quantity doesn't matter. Somebody might be studying for 20 years and yet may not have sustained absorption or contemplation upon those teachings. Somebody might have for a very brief while studied Vedanta, and thanks to the Pura Sanskaras or whatever, he is excited and steadily, not inconsistently, not once in a fortnight, but steadily, every now and then, he or she is deeply immersed in Vedantic outlook of life. Then one may go for walking away from all that she or he was doing before. So, Sri Krishna brings that dimension of going for karma sannyasa only after there is a certain maturity. This maturity has to be double-checked, verified with great care. In that context, he said, if there is no such maturity, if there is no such steady and intense vairagya on one hand, viveka on the other, then number one should not go for that sannyasa. Number two, suppose because of certain other factors one does go for sannyasa, even though one has gone for sannyasa, the inside truth is one is yet not on the higher plane. So somebody who has outwardly gone for sannyasa, we would not call it wrong. We used a word also from the Shastra in an earlier class, which appeared in Shankara Bhāshya itself. That kind of sannyasa where you do not have the required vairagya and the required steady contemplation on Atmajnana is called Vividisha sannyasa. Vividisha means Veditum Ichcha. One does not know so well or so clearly, but one wants to know. Veditum Ichcha is Vividisha. Just as Natum Ichcha is Jidnasa. Kartum Ichcha is Chikirsha. So, we had dwelt on this in the earlier classes. What was earlier divided into just two categories, the higher karma sannyasa, the lower karma yoga, got divided into three. Two became three. One is the highest sannyasa, second level is vividisha sannyasa, third level is karma yoga. So, before we get into the next shloka, let us clarify it once more. Presently, the context is not at all of that highest level A, which is, of course, higher, better, and superior, whatever you say. The present context is level B and C. Level B is some people, for some reason, have taken sannyasa, but they have to work a lot more on things like viveka, vairagya, self-control. You go to various ashrams, we normally joke. I used to tell my students or visitors especially, please come to our ashram, but don't stay more than 10 days. They used to wonder why this condition. I used to tell them, for 10 days you will really enjoy our ashram. But after 10 days you will come to know the limitations of everybody here. Then you will be in for some disappointment. So be there for 10 days and enjoy in a manner of saying. What is meant is, you go to ashrams, you go to various spiritual places, you go to Himalayas, you will see people in ochre robes, yellow robes, and so on. It applies to other religions also. Go to Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh, to the to the place where Dalai Lama lives. You will see a whole lot of Tibetans in the dress of those Tibetan monks and their dress and the shaven head and whatever may impress you. You may say, wow, so many sannyasis, so many monks, Buddhist bhikshus, and somebody is sitting below a tree. You imagine that person must be in samadhi. He is dozing off maybe, you don't know. So if you stay there for a number of days, you will find, yes, 5 out of 100 would be really on a higher level. But 95 of them, not bad, we don't blame them. They do have certain qualification, but they have to work on themselves. They may have some weaknesses, food or drink or some comfort or some other tastes. So now with all this growth of technology, life is going to be hard everywhere. Such sadhana also. A sannyasi gets a smartphone, it's going to be difficult. If he does not have enough viveka and vairagya, poor man, he took sannyasa with all good intentions, God bless him. But with this smartphone in hand, he may get up also early, let's say 4 a.m., but he may get tempted to watch first some message, then some video, either some song and dance, or maybe something. The world is always into all kinds of conflicts. Hindu-Muslim conflict over Taiwan between United States and China, two mighty powers, conflict somewhere else on some grounds. And the sannyasi, in a sense, had left everything behind, but not quite. He sees, oh, Biden says he will defend Taiwan in case of a war. I have to know, see what's going to happen. So he leaves Brahma Chintana and studies more. What did Biden say? And what did Xi Jinping or somebody, that prime minister of the head of China, say? Half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour may go. The monk may be unable to even postpone it. That is, I will do my Brahma Chintana, I will do my yoga, meditation, and I'll take a look at this after breakfast, after lunch. It is said that most successful people are successful not because they put away pleasure or fun or enjoyments of life, but successful people became successful because they had the ability to delay gratification. They would, when there is important work, they would do the important work and attend to some enjoyment with family or with friends at the right time later on. Not dump all work and rush to enjoyment. So around the world, if people have an ability to delay, that's what Scott Peck, the author of one great book in olden times, The Road Less Traveled, he wrote a book. It was a bestseller. He was a psychologist in some American university. He said there is no need to deny enjoyment. No ice cream, no sweets, no fun, etc. No, you don't have to deny. But do you have the ability to delay when required? So coming back, those who cannot delay their gratification of pleasure or some gossip or some politically sensitive information, they want to get into it. They belong to the level B. They might have taken sannyasa, but they still have interest in very many things of the world to such an extent that their steady contemplation gets disturbed. And it is so in Bhakti Marga also. I have been using the Jnana Marga language more, but in Bhakti Marga too, think of it. I'll give an example. If you are disturbed about Taiwan, for example, if you are disturbed about the Ukraine war, you don't have to be a Vedantin. In Bhakti Marga, it is said, God who created this universe is overseeing the universe. Do not be unduly concerned, unduly in tension. What will happen now? And so on. God is overseeing the world. It is His job. And if you think that you need to do something, you need to tell somebody, you need to discuss this now, leaving aside everything else, then it is lack of true surrender. So these are all delicate and subtle topics. Why I call it subtle is, in no way we are saying, we are not putting a blanket ban on spiritual people getting concerned about some problem in the world. No, not a blanket ban. But you need to examine, even as you express concern, feel a concern about Taiwan or Ukraine, or something in India, something in US, even as you are being concerned, suppose there is an overriding wave of faith in God, trust in God, and then you do whatever is appropriate to your swadharma, then the scriptures do not say it's wrong. So in this way, between B and C, Sri Krishna says, if you do not have adequate vairagya, adequate satatya, satata means continuous. Satatya is a certain continuity. Let me tell you, even that continuity doesn't mean that you do not have any kama krodha at all in 24 hours. No. But relatively, more often than ever before, you are enjoying the spiritual truths. And here and there, to your own surprise, to your own shock, an old worldly thought may rise and throw you off balance. But even if that happens, suppose you recover, you get back pretty fast. In olden days, if desire or anger or jealousy or some other took over you, you would have taken a long time to regain your balance. But now, let us say, you did have a bout of anger or of lust or of something like that, so what we call negative emotions. But within 10 minutes or so, you just say, that came, that went. Now I'm able to again appreciate the understanding that I am the witness. I was the witness of karma when it came. I was the witness of krodha when it came. I was the witness, I am the witness, and I am not going to stay stuck with guilt or shame or all those. Because it is always like that. One thing is we make a mistake, and a bigger mistake in a manner of saying is we go on feeling low about it. Oh, why did I do that? We speakers sometimes, use a wrong word. My favorite example is instead of saying immortal, suppose I say to an audience, all of you are immoral. Rama Rama. I should have said you are Amrita Swarupaha, immortal. I didn't do that, but I have made some other mistakes. Once at the end of a Vishnu Sahasranama Archana in Mumbai at Darya Mahal. Darya Mahal means a beautiful bungalow by the side of the sea. And there we had been invited, and let me not give more details why it happened, a slip of tongue. And at the end of it all, I was leading the whole program. Instead of saying, Iti Shri Mahavishnoho Sahasranama Puja Samapta, I should have said Sahasranama. We had done 1,000 names, and maybe some 100 people had come that morning. But I was half sleeping. I said, Evam Shri Mahavishnoho Ashtottara Satanama Puja Samapta Hari Om. And my own students, some 30, 35 brahmacharis, brahmacharinis were with me. They were all looking at me. Oh, our Acharya has said 108 names, while actually we did 1,000 names. Right? Now, I'm illustrating how our mind works. One is to make such a mistake, big or small. Another is to brood over it for next 7 days. At Darya Mahal, wonderful venue, and with all people watching, participating, I made a mistake. So in a lecture or in some program or even between two people, by slip of tongue, if we say something and later worry about it, feel bad about it, and that's another bigger problem. So a advanced bhakta, an advanced Vedanta student finds, not because of his willpower, but because of certain inner cleansing that takes place anyhow, finds that, hey, olden days, I used to take a long time to recover my balance. Ah, God's grace. Nowadays, mistakes do take place at my hands, but I quickly recover and get going. This is nice. You will enjoy it. So, in that way, I'm trying to describe this level B. In level B, you are slowly growing. And level C is where someone who did not have any compulsion, because many people take sannyasa because of compulsion also. Their own guru may say, come, I will give you sannyasa. And then they go. In their heart of hearts, they might feel not so ready, but the guru has called, they go. Or sometimes several sadhakas are together. Other two take. And this person is a little confused. Oh my God, the three of us began Vedanta studies together. Now these two are going to take sannyas. And the Guru is ready to give me also. Shall I? Shall I not? Shall I not? And then that's also a form of compulsion. The two friends say, come on, yaar, we started together, let's take sannyas together. Then he takes sannyas. Even on the day of taking sannyas, half his mind is saying, should I have taken it all? You know. Once I met somebody in my hometown in my younger days. I met him on the day he married, in the evening. And he was older to me, of course. I said, congratulations, you have now entered Grihastha. He looked at me and said, I don't know whether I should have married. That same evening, thank God his wife was at a little distance. Anyway, having said it, I know them for 40 years. It's a happy marriage. But he was philosophical the same evening. rather than saying a spontaneous thank you and all that. I don't know. Maybe I could have waited 2 more years. I think I hurried in marrying and so on. So I think I have explained it in many ways. Let me go now to the third shloka, which we had taken up last time itself. I personally feel some of these shlokas are such gems, such beautiful observations by Lord Sri Krishna. Let me sing that once more. Jneyasa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. I regard it as a very beautiful shloka because it is path-breaking, it is groundbreaking, it clears some of our rigid and immature notions. We think sannyasa is going by external marks. We read something, everybody gives a profile of theirs in a very nice way. So we read the profile. Oh, this man had such a wonderful position. He was a professor in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, his profile says. Then he became a sannyasi. Oh my God. So we get carried away by the profile that gets printed on leaflets and brochures, etc. We may not know many other things which also would have happened in his life, in her life, right? Sri Krishna doesn't encourage us to be unduly carried away by externalities. Just because he was very qualified, he was a professor at AIMS, before that he served in some hospital in the West or whatever, that doesn't mean he really is spiritually very mature. What makes someone truly mature? Whom do we call a truly adorable sannyasi? Sri Krishna answers that. What makes one truly adorable is absence of dvesha and kama. Yaha na dveshti, yaha na kankshati. That doesn't require high qualifications of engineering or medicine or chartered accountancy or all those subjects. Spiritual maturity has nothing to do with having lived in the West or in Australia or somewhere. Our conditionings, our worldly samskaras make us get excited looking at those externalities. Somebody might have never gone away from a little town in Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh, never went to and saw the big cities, etc. But yaha na dveshti na kankshati. This person is free from hatred and free from worldly desires. What a beautiful, this is worth meditating upon in the mornings. There are many such punchlines in the Bhagavad Geetā which can be material for you to meditate on. Doesn't have to be mornings once more, that's another externality. Anywhere and everywhere you get 2 minutes. Just take a line like this. Neyassa nitya sannyasi yona dveshtina kankshati. In one corner of your mind, you may have certain matters of the world that need to be sorted out. Oh, I have to pay those dues. Oh, I have to collect that. Oh, I have to receive a guest tomorrow morning. Let them be. If you are not mature on the basis of those thoughts about money and people, etc., you may unnecessarily judge yourself as spiritually inferior. That's not at all the issue. Even as you have money to spend, money to earn, a guest to receive, some travel, and all those things, the important question is, na dveshti na kankshati. That guest who is coming, your own mama, let us say, last time he had come, that uncle had been hard on your family members. In spite of it, you say, he is my uncle, he is my own mother's brother. No matter how he behaved last time he was with us for 1 week, I'll receive him at the airport with all love and regard. Mamaji, please come, so on. So no dvesha on the basis of some past incident, and no kanksha, no selfish desire in your interactions. You go through your interactions being objective, you know why something is to be done and you do it. In 18th chapter, Sri Krishna says, Kartavyameveti yat karma kriyate. Kartavya, this is to be done. You have examined its worthiness. This is worthy of being done. I don't come into the picture now. My likes and dislikes take a back seat. What a beautiful statement. Lord Krishna says, such a person having spouse and children and property and things to manage, whatever doesn't matter, moment his heart or her heart is free from aversion and attachments. The positive language for the same is the moment this person's heart is filled with love and silence and a certain prasada, prasannata, that person is sannyasi. So why make a big issue of literally going away from the world, Arjuna? This is the underlying message. Such a person is nirdvandvaha. Nirdvandva. Dvandva means the pairs of opposites. I must have said before, Swami Akhandanandji of Vrindavan used to say, with a touch of humor, Dvau in Sanskrit, Dvau means two. Dvavimau Purushau Loke, Dvau, two. And Swami Akhandanandji, who was so wonderful in his Hindi writings and speeches on Gita, Upanishads and so on, said, Dvau, two, day and night, pleasure and pain, success and failure, good and bad, these are all pairs. When you say Dvau, with a little nasal sound, suppose you caught cold, this beautiful Bangalore where I am presently, all the same has one negative comment. People get into allergy, etc. quite easily here. The weather, something about here. A lot of people complain of bronchitis here. I too had suffered terribly here long back, 87, 88, bronchitis. But thank God it vanished. It completely vanished, I must say. But almost my worst bouts of bronchitis were at that time when I lived in Bangalore. So, suppose you have some cold, your voice becomes a little nasal. Instead of saying do, you say dwang. And he commented, that is dvandva. Dvau, two. Now, what is meant by this person who may not have ochre robes, who may not have walked away from his children or spouse, and yet is praised as Nitya Sannyasi. Such a person is praised as Nirdvandva. His mind doesn't go to extremes, doesn't take a judgmental position. That's another psychological problem a lot of us have. If somebody was harsh towards us or not good towards us in some way, on that one piece of information, we tend to make a sweeping remark or judgment of him or her. I don't like that man. He did this to me. That day, you remember, you were also there. He said such a nasty thing. I have struck him off. That is one extreme. Likewise, we get so attached to people who, at some point of time, on some occasion, might have been very good to us. And we say, that is the person with whom I want to have a long standing association. So it's all mischief of memory. Memory of pleasure makes us get attached to persons, places, objects. And memory of pain makes us take the opposite position. We don't want to have anything to do with that place, that person, that object. This is all immaturity. I'm not saying you should never keep a distance from anybody. Otherwise, like Hindi, they say there is one simple. Those of you who know even a little Hindi will understand this. There is one saying in Hindi. A bail mujhe maar. A bail. O ox, O bull, come, mujhe maar, hit me. If you see a bull which had hit you last time, and today again you see the bull and you go near, come, dear bull, hit me. The bull will hit you and you will get highly injured. So in life, we do have to sometimes keep a certain distance. And if someone has been very good, it makes sense that you interact with, you keep a relation with those people a little more. But deep inside, you should always be ready. Deep inside, you should be ready to keep away from someone to whom you are very attached at one time, or to get back to proximity of someone from whom you had kept a distance for a while. Because life is fluid, life is not stagnant, life is not frozen. So relationships do have their own dynamics. If we have spiritual maturity, then we do change our positions judiciously. Not like politicians jumping from one party to another for mere selfish gain. That is not spiritual maturity. That is opportunism. You get a chance. If I join that party now, I may become a minister. Come on. That is disloyalty. Who are we to judge? I'm not, in all these matters, we can't be too judgmental. But it's quite likely that a number of politicians who change the party, a good number of them, do so for personal gain, for rising on the scale of political power and position. That's not maturity. But nirdvandvaha, in modern language of psychology, this is a pointer towards non-judgmentalism. Even as you keep distance from some or you keep close to some on certain basic principles, on a deeper level, yes, you have nothing against anybody. Even with the person from whom you are keeping some distance, you examine your heart, and in your heart you don't want to have any dvesha. But still you say, no, for some more time, let me not go close to him. Let me keep a distance. God bless him sincerely. You wish him well. You wish that family well. You wish that party well. But you keep a certain distance. Otherwise, it is like saying to the bull, "Ah, bail, mujhe maar." So, nirdvandvaha. Same way, before proceeding, you and I, every one of us, suddenly remember a terrible failure that we had some time back in some matter. Some other day we remember some spectacular success and how people appreciated, honored, felicitated us, etc. With respect to these memories also, be nirdvandva. Let a pleasant memory come. Just smile once and then let it go. Don't cling to it. Let an unpleasant memory arise. Don't grind your teeth. Ah, that man in front of all said some nasty thing about me. Let him come before me now. I will teach him a lesson or two. Like that. That is not wise. Unpleasant memories come. It causes a little pain to you again, a little bit. Let go. let go of pleasant and unpleasant memories, stay nirdvandva. Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna, when there is such a mental state, sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Bandhat means bandhanat. Gita talks about bandhana consistently in the sense of psychological shackles, not being in a prison, not having the outer financial crisis. Some people are sad about not having a proper place to stay at, not having enough, maybe financial income. These are outer. The question Bhagavad Gita raises is whether it is financial problem or relationship problem or some other problem outwardly. Our question is inwardly, how are you looking at them? Have you lost all spirits? Have you become crestfallen? Do you drag on? Do you go through the days pulling a long face? And so on. This morning as I rose, I had a beautiful thought. I suddenly remembered, I remember Gurudev every day, Swami Chinmayananda, but today I thought of a certain Sanskrit word came in my mind, Sthairya. I said, wow, Swamiji was so full of Sthairya. Sthairya is sthirata. So for those 13 years when I had the opportunity to see him physically, to be around him, etc., on and off, not for long periods of time, I used to be amazed, and that came to me this morning in my mind with great vividness. Every morning, Swami Shanmayananda, like a military general, get ready, write some letters, dictate some letters, then have, I guess, a strong coffee or something, and come to typically he had morning lectures. Everything was with uh, such flavor of total commitment, and he is so happy to give the lecture. He is so happy to meet the devotees. He is so happy to, during the day, maybe there is a puja, he would come and sit, join. He had to write a reply. Those days, facsimile was there. In Siddhbari, I saw he used to dictate something and somebody would type it, and that used to go by fax. Younger generation may not know what is fax, that communication. Somebody would type and bring it, and he would again see it. Everywhere there was a certain high energy response. In 92, 1 year before, he dropped his body, 76-year-old. But that's Dhairya. I never saw Swamiji, you know, I don't know, more letters I clear and some more letters are coming. And where is the time to reply to all this? Ayo Rama. No, no. You know, he was so steady in his work, so enthusiastic. There was physical tiredness. Sometimes, if there was physical tiredness, he would go take aside some rest. But it appeared he was so free, in his mission. He had a mission, whatever, how he visualized it, carrying the messages of Hindu Dharma to the maximum possible number of people. Maybe that looked like his vision, not just Vedanta, Hindu Dharma. He was a Hindu missionary you know, in all likelihood. That was primarily his role. He was Thira. He did not, like that man who wandered the same evening of the marriage. 11:30 he had married. 5:30 evening he says, maybe I should have waited 2 years. that is lack of sthirata. So Swamiji was, he made fun of himself sometimes about his doing all this spiritual work. In Bangalore, somebody There was a question of prarabdha. What is prarabdha? I wasn't there in that audience that day, but I came to know. He took his hand to his head while explaining the concept of prarabdha. He said, my prarabdha, I am going from town to town and giving these lectures. Did I have to do this? But it is my prarabdha. He acted. He pretended as though he did not want to do it. In fact, the truth was the opposite. As he said, this is my prarabdha to give lectures, to go from town to town. If all the audience had gone to him and said, we will free you from this duty at this moment, don't give any more lectures, he would have screamed at them, don't come in the way of my work. Allow me to. So as that thought came to me, I really had a wonderful moment of deep appreciation. Styrium. He was firm and steady and enthusiastic, passionate about his work. Let the world think of him in any manner. Let people criticize him or some people admire him. He felt that this is my offering to Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna's teachings made me enjoy life. I'm going to convey Sri Krishna's message to people. Maximum people may feel free. Maybe that's how he thought. So I'm trying to throw light. Bear with me if some of you may be thinking, last class also he was on verse 3. Today we were hoping to go up to class at least 3 more verses. But he has not moved on at all. I do admit I'm a bit slow sometimes, but you are also, those of you who think like that, are partly right. Spirituality is not about covering shlokas. But I do agree. When we teach a text, so I am 50% right, you are also 50% right. We speakers, we teachers also have to have a certain sense of schedule. We should not remain in third chapter, the fifth chapter for rest of our life. We have to, Swami Tejamananda was very good. If he had 6 days to cover a chapter, uniformly he would cover the shlokas. Never it seemed that he was stuck in a shloka. It never seemed that he was um, covering 10 or 12 in a single class. He had a knack, he had a skill of doing justice to the number of shlokas, moving further. All right, we may not be able to cover the next shloka, but the Shankara Bhāshya, probably we saw the Bhāshya also last time, doesn't matter. But Shankara, as always, is so clear. Jnayaha Gnatavyaha, one must know that Karma Yogi is Saha Karma Yogi in the Bhashya. So outwardly somebody is a Karma Yogi, but Jnayaha Gnatavyaha Nitya Sannyasi iti. Even though he is with family, dealing with money and matters, he has to be regarded, such a person, he or she, Nitya Sannyasi, who is free from Yona Dveshtati na Kamshati. What does he not want? Sukham tat sadhanam cha. And what does he not hate? Dukkham tat sadhanam cha. This dukkham, sukham, va tat sadhanam cha goes with dveshti and kamshati respectively. Most of us hate to think even of some person or a place where last time we had a bad experience. But this person, he may avoid the place, but with a certain cool. He may not, I have explained it. He doesn't invite trouble, but he doesn't have hatred in his bosom. Evam vidaha yaha karmani vartamanaha api. Please see that. Don't think Shankara Bhāshya is hard nut to crack. A lot of these paragraphs are very simple Sanskrit. There are other paragraphs which involve either a little complex Sanskrit or philosophical content. But this is simple. Karmani vartamanaha api. Though his hands are at work, religious work or secular work, Saha nitya sannyasi iti jnatavyaha. He has to be understood as ever established in renunciation. Nirdvandvaha, dvandvavarjitaha yas hi yasmat mahabaho sukam bandhat. Bandhat also is explained by giving a synonym. No, not bandhat. Sukham, the adverb. What is meant by sukham pramuchyate? Anayasena pramuchyate. Sukham means without much stress, strain, exhaustion. Even as she is actually engaged in work, her profession, her home, her relationships, she is engaged in that. Mundane things also. She had to attend a birthday party and she managed to take some time off and went, hugged the child, blessed them, greeted the family, came back. She's doing many things. Karmani vartamanaha api. Even as she was doing all that, thanks to the spiritual teachings which she had absorbed, inwardly there was such growth. And anayasena seems to mean without much of going out of the way, spending some long period of time in some ashram, some japa, tapa, Ganga snana. Last month a lady spoke to me from Rishikesh, from Bombay only she is, and I could not believe. She has settled in Rishikesh these days. 365 days, her day begins with going to Ganga in Rishikesh and taking a dip. I said, even in winter you go and take bath? Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji. First it was difficult. Now I cannot believe how in the cold, chilly water of Ganga, Gangaji as they call, this lady goes takes bath even in winter time. Great willpower, great training of the body, I guess, right? So that is ayasa, what Sri Krishna says. With due respect to people like that lady, God bless them, it's not necessary. For getting liberated, you don't have to learn those skills, right? So some yogis do it, some sadhakas do such things. As I said, God bless them, but we don't have to. If we need warm water in the morning, if we need a coffee in the morning, it's not a big issue. In moderation, certain things are all right. Anayasena. What is the big issue is, for heaven's sake, please free your heart from any vengeance, any revenge, or any clinging attachment, possessiveness, right? You and I have some possessiveness of persons, places, objects, organizations. My organization, I won't let anybody mess up with this organization till I am alive, and so on, suppose, religious or worldly organization. That's called possessiveness. Everything should happen through me, via me, and without my knowing, nobody should do anything, etc. In various contexts. That has to be let go of. You don't have to take bath. Once more, those who do, I don't say don't do it. That's fine. But every one of us doesn't have to take bath in cold Ganga in winter. No. But every one of us have to be free of hatred. Before we die, even 1 minute before we breathe our last, if we come to a state of no dvesha towards anybody, no raga towards anybody, even 1 minute before, some of you I'm sure know what shloka made me say that. Stitva asyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam vrichati. Last shloka of second chapter has that message. Even a moment, 1 moment before you die, suppose you come to this state of total nirmalatva, purity, you are freed, Sri Krishna says. With this, let's close this class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.